Hi, Doris.
Hi, Doris.
Oh, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, Kay. Hi, Nathan.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a little trouble logging in.
That's okay.
No problem.
Thanks.
Hello, how are you, Ron?
Good.
Hi,
How is
Kathy.
everyone?
Hey.
Good. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jonas. Let's see here. We got everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Doris.
Okay, great.
I'm just gonna wait a second until Denise pops on.
Okay. Hi, Jonas.
Hello. Hi,
Hey.
Doris.
Good, thank you. Hi, Barbara.
So when do we think we're gonna be back in person?
Oh,
Oh,
God. How about next
wow.
month?
Any theories?
Oh,
The fall? What do you think, Doris?
I really, I want to stay positive about it and, really looking forward to coming back,
We're
back
gonna
to
have to open
normal.
up the building first.
Right. But hopefully
I would think by the fall, but
by the fall, hopefully soon.
I got my second shot last week, so and I haven't grown any additional appendages or anything.
Yeah, I got my second one Tuesday.
Until the next
Or
week.
this last Tuesday.
So all right, well, I think
Oh, I see Denise. Let me let her.
okay.
There she is.
Hello.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Denise.
How are you?
Okay.
Thank you. How are you?
Very good.
I think I can remove my mask now there.
Can you guys hear me?
We can see your
Yeah.
smile, Doris.
Better.
Doris's smile. Yay.
Yay.
She does have a great smile.
It's Kay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
For some reason I can't see anyone, but
Oh, yeah, we can hear you perfectly and see you.
maybe it's better if I can't see everybody else. All right. So we have we'll start our work session. It's Tuesday, April 27th, a little after 5. Everyone's present except Larry.
Correct.
Board. So the first item for the work session is 64 Germain Avenue. And we've talked about this the last couple of meetings. It was a request for an extension of all approvals for the planning board to extend those approvals. It was a 4-unit condominium building. It's now 3. And there were a couple questions, but I think Kathy was able to resolve those if she wants to chime in.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to share my screen.
Sure.
with Doris, if I could do that.
Okay, let me.
Okay. So part of the issue here
Okay.
was just being able to compare what was previously approved by the planning board in December of 2000. Was it 15? It was it's pre-Kathy for sure.
Right.
And to make sure that what was being proposed at this time with the reduced number of units is identical in other aspects. So I asked the engineer to create a plan that is at the same scale as the architect's plan. So architects and engineers use different scales. Engineers use inches, use feet, and architects use inches. So we had something that was 1/16 of an inch to 1 foot. And we had a site plan that was 1:30. So Drew Bennett graciously created an overlay. And I know he had to do some acrobats to do this. So you can all see my window back there. That's my light table. I I took the 2015 plan and I overlaid the 2021 plan that Drew Bennett created. So to complicate things a little bit, when the applicant submitted, they submitted the architect's plans. And those are slightly different in one way, and that's what I wanted to show you, a couple of ways. And this was something that, if you look in this area right here, next to Unit 1, this previously was proposed to have a pool. And on the plan that Drew Bennett sent to me that I compared, it showed up here. So it looked like there were 4 pools being proposed. This plan that is proposed, that is part of the application, has 3 pools and 3 residential units. So that's reasonable. The other thing is that this curb cut right here was relocated slightly to the east, and that was by request of the neighbor across the street who wanted to, didn't want the headlights shining into their house. So that seemed like a very reasonable request, and that makes sense. It's actually further away from the wetlands boundary, so there won't be additional disturbance there. I was a little concerned about this utility pole here, where the new curb cut is going, because it looks like it's in the middle of the curb. But the applicant has stated that these utilities will be put underground. So that's actually better also. And then finally, something that doesn't show up on the architect's plans, but also showed up on Drew's plans, were that there were some drainage structures within the gravel driveway. And generally, when we see that, we want to make sure that they're load bearing. So that way they don't collapse under the weight of a car. So other than that, those, and as long as I'd like to have the applicant's verification that this area is not proposed as a pool, I would recommend that the board extend the application and reference these plans. So back to you guys.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense what Kathy just said. I don't know if the applicant's on the call now, but it's going to be on the regular meeting and we can, verify those 3 items.
So I have been typing away an updated decision, so that way that'll be available for this evening. So I had David.
Yes, I am on the call. Thank you for your time. Yeah, so I'm in agreement with everything Ms. Eisman has put out. Just to clarify the utilities, there is a pole on the eastern property line of Germain, and that that small house that I guess is to the east of our property. So the idea is to use that pole. I've spoken to PSE&G. We're going to add, they're going to add pole transformers. We're going to come down that pole. And as Ms. Eisman said, we're going to shoot underground into there's a small utility basement in the building. So there'll be no overhead lines at the property. Regarding the pools, originally we had submitted for the 4 pools when we went back and turned it into 3 units. And just to give you a little background, that the 3rd unit in the rear of the property will be used by my family and my mom. And the idea was to kind of give her her own pool. If that's something that's not acceptable, I understand, but that was kind of the idea in just keeping it as the existing site plan. However, when the architect redrew the plans as a 3 unit, he did eliminate that. And I think that's caused some confusion.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it makes more sense to have 3 units and have 3 pools. But if I don't know if you want to pursue the other option, but I think we're prepared to approve it approve the extension based on Kathy's recommendation with 3 pools, and
I'm prepared to accept that recommendation.
Okay. So then that's going to be we're going to talk about this again in the regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So item 2, work session, 152 Hampton Street. So I think Nelson Pope Voorhees, in behalf of Kathy, is prepared, a report that she's going to distribute to the applicant and everyone later this week. So I don't think there's really much to discuss right now until that's reviewed, and it is on the regular meeting agenda as well. And we are going to vote to declare lead agent status. Anything else, Kathy?
Well, we got the correspondence was just dated April 14th, so hasn't been quite enough time, but we did put together a report. We just didn't get it out to the planning board before the meeting, and I never want to do that the day of the meeting. There was also a letter from Dr. Georgette Greer-Key that was entered into the record that we respond to in the report, asking that the adjacent historic district be taken into consideration as well. That is something that the planning board could ask the Office of Parks, the State Office of Parks, it's OPRHP, to take a look at this application if they wish. They're not an involved agency under SECR. They have no decision that they make, but they are available for consultation and recommendation. So
I think for now, we should just focus on the report and the other issues that need to be addressed. And then if we want to revisit that letter and reach out to them, that if the board feels like that's necessary, we could do that at a later date. So then, and then, like I said, this is also going to be on the regular meeting agenda. So the next item in the work session is 42 Bay Street. And this was on as requested by the applicant's attorney for the last meeting, but the applicant wasn't present. So it's on today's meeting, and I see Mr. Downs is on the Zoom call. So I know he wanted to present something briefly to the board.
Am I unmuted?
You have the floor.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Can you just state your name for the record, Dennis? Thank you.
Dennis Downs, 34 Bay Street, Sag Harbor, New York, for the applicant.
Thank you.
42 Bay Street is a single-family dwelling that's got two structures on it. The structure in the front, which is, we call it the old house, we thought it's actually on the house that's contributing. However, Zach was there last week, and he said there's nothing contributing about it. And that was his writing. That's what he was going to write to the ARB. That all the beams that are in the building are all machine cut. There's no evidence of anything historic. We thought the small call it the A-frame or the salt box portion of the house dated back to the 1800s. That's what information I had been given, but that was all false information. And when Zach went through the whole building, he said that his advice to the ARB is, this is not an historic building. They can do what they want with it. So we're waiting for that letter to come in. It'll probably be at the next ARB meeting. But the building was purchased by the Sag Harbor Yacht Club and then leased immediately to the Maycroft Club. The Maycroft Club is a new organization, a fraternal social organization that was formed for advocating Sag Harbor's historical history of its waterfront, whaling ships, things of that nature. There's going to be offices, a museum, a memorial room, a memorabilia room. We've got tons of information that we've gotten from different yacht clubs throughout the country, plus what we've salvaged here in Sag Harbor. A lot of people have donated things going back to the 1800s. There'll be a room to display all of that. The back building was built as a artist studio. It's a 2-story building. It's got bathrooms in it, things of that nature. And that's going to be basically where the clubhouse is. It's going to be a big meeting room. And and just bathrooms, facilities, handicap facilities, things of that nature. And then there'll be a small kitchen there in the event that they have some sort of an event where they're going to serve food. But for the most part, it's just a big meeting room. The front building is going to be used more as the museum, the library, and we have, I think there'll be 2 offices in the front, receptionist and one of the ladies that works at the yacht club. She'll be there. Or actually, she's employed by Maycroft. So, and Maycroft is a not-for-profit. I'm not hearing it. Someone's talking, but I can't understand them.
Well,
Jonas is frozen.
let me just pipe in for a second.
I just have a question. Can anybody hear?
Yeah, your connection is not so good, so it's very hard to hear you. I know we just wanted, so thanks, Dennis, for that presentation. Nelson Pope Voorhees is going to have a report later this week. Correct, Kathy?
Yeah, actually, I can send it right after the meeting.
Okay, so that'll be circulated to the applicant as well as everyone on the board. So I think for now, we should look at that report. And then we can have another discussion on it. Unless if Jonas wants to make a comment now, if he's reconnected, but we really need to look at the report before we can have any educated.
One thing I left out, Kay, is this is a special exception use. Fraternal social organizations are permitted in the residential district. It's not much different than, say, what's happening over at the old Methodist church, where artists are allowed to stay and do their work and just exhibit it, things of that nature. It would be that type of a facility. It's not going to be used every day, other than maybe the one office or the receptionist that may be there. So there's 2 people on site probably all the time, but maybe not. We don't know, because they share space over at the yacht club, and it's pretty much the same people that are handling both organizations. We have about, we expect that there's going to be somewhere up to 200 members. Not everybody is interested in maritime history, and so that's really one of the main criteria for who's going to be using the building. And they'll probably have 1 or 2 events during the course of the year. I've talked to a couple of the neighbors, but we got one brand new neighbor, so I've got to go speak to them. The other neighbors had no objection to it. It's well screened, and we're going to be putting in more trees to make sure no one's, 2 residences that are adjacent to us would be interfered with. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Jonas, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
If I understood correctly, it was a museum for yachting or something to that effect?
Well, it's more historical artifacts. It's both yachting and it's also power. The majority of the boats that are at Sag Harbor Yacht Club, which they automatically will be members of the Maycroft Club, and then there's going to be many more, regular public that want to be involved with a maritime organization. Most of them are power boats. We do have several sailors, though. It's because we have the Maycroft Club, a cup that we have every year, and that's strictly sailing, and that's a pretty big event on the East End.
Yeah, no, I've participated in it myself.
Okay.
But I'm just curious, personally, to know more about the organization. I'm sure we'll get all that information in due time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so then let's see, 41 Main Street. So we've been talking about this for the last few meetings, and there was a letter that we received from the applicant's attorney this afternoon. So what I think we need to do, it's because it's somewhat complicated, that we need to review the response and review that response from the applicant's attorney, and we need to respond to that letter. And then we can take it from there. I see Christopher Kelly raising his hand. Do you want to say something, Chris?
He's muted.
There we go.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, not to make, not to belabor this, I just,
I'm sorry, Christopher, can you just state your name for the record, please?
Christopher Kelly, Toomey Latham Shea, Kelly Dubin and Corderaro for the applicant.
Thank you.
So the planning board's role now is not to, not at this point to opine or review for the site plan, but simply to give a recommendation at this stage to the Zoning Board of Appeals about the whole parking issue. And these, I just wanted to raise with the board that the ZBA, when it first heard the matter in December and subsequently in January, took a poll of its members. The members were comfortable with what was being asked with regard to the conversion of this garage space to a workspace and the legalization of that. And they wanted to know from the board's recommendation, because there is a requirement under the code. One of the board's recommendation as to whether they should just waive the parking or whether a parking variance was necessary. And that's the issue they're trying to deal with. And as I've mentioned many times before, there is no formalized de jure parking associated with this building. There's a little gravel area that can accommodate 3 spots, but there's no site plan that shows those. We're proposing to dedicate that area that's never been dedicated before to parking, creating 3 parking spaces where none existed before. And that's, so with that, I would propose that the village is getting more parking than it could otherwise get from this. And we shouldn't need a variance for parking since these uses have existed. The store, the retail store and the apartment above have existed for a long time with no real dedication of parking.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly. So I think I have a thought on maybe how to discuss this going forward with the ZBA, the building inspector, and you, Mr. Kelly, as well.
Okay.
To try to see if we can make some sense of it and be able to come to some sort of resolution. But for today, we're not able to do that. So.
Okay, understood.
Okay, thank you so much.
And there's one other thing, obviously, there's also a secret declaration that needs to be made associated with this file. A lead agency's determination.
Right, I guess it,
A negative deck.
for some reason, didn't make it on the agenda.
I think it's in Ms. Eisman's memo, though.
Yes, so the thought was that if the planning board wanted to go forward with the recommendation that the building inspector be brought in and give us a determination on whether parking relief was needed, then the planning board could adopt a neg deck. I did review the EAF. This is not rising to the level of an environmental impact statement. It's pretty much the, that's the, the be all end all of a neg deck. So the planning board could adopt a neg deck in this case, because that's not the issue here. It's not an environmental issue. So if it is going to go to the zoning board, then that would be something the planning board could do. I don't have it written, but it's basically a form. And if the planning board feels comfortable with that, they can adopt that.
How does this letter from the building inspector fit into this? You got a letter here from James Esposito. I guess he's the building inspector. I haven't met him.
Yes, that's.
How does this letter fit into what it is we're trying to do here? I mean, you got a whole list of things that, of this some in good standing, some are not in good standing, and he's almost requesting to inspect the building himself.
Yeah, I think, Nat, that's a good point. I think that that's part of why we were saying that we need to review this response from the applicant, and that we need some more time to try to come to some consensus with the ZBA and the building inspector as to how to best move forward with the parking variance referral, or where we are now. But it's simple, but it's simple, but it's complicated. So I don't think.
If the chair's preferences to conferences somehow, I'll make myself available at your convenience to
Great.
conference it. Okay,
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, but I think this request just opened up a whole bag of worms here, because this paragraph 4, I mean, there's a whole list of things that's wrong with this building.
Right. Well, we will, that's part of why we're not ready to make a decision on that right now. Not, but I hear what you're saying. So with that being said, we're going to work on this, and we're going to move on to an update on the waterfront overlay district from Kathy and I. I'll let Kathy start.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. Hold on a second. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, so really what I wanted to do was to let everybody know that the Board of Trustees had asked for some modifications to the use table mostly, and in the proposed waterfront overlay district code. And that there were a couple other minor changes that got introduced to this new draft, which is on the website. It's April 20th. There is a specific page for the waterfront planning project. So you can all download the document from there and take a look. The Board of Trustees is introducing a local law tomorrow night at 6 o'clock to introduce this as proposed code, and to schedule public hearings. And the public hearings will be on May 11th and May 26th. But the planning board will discuss this at our next meeting, and we were going to be asking for a formal recommendation from the planning board regarding the waterfront overlay code. So the mayor did ask that the planning board members and zoning board members, and I believe the ARB, be invited to the 2 question and answer sessions that are going to be held on Mondays, May 3rd and May 10th. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to learn about the code and ask questions. And you can always ask me or Kay or Denise. And but that's really what I wanted to say for now. But get ready for next month, basically, to hopefully provide a recommendation to the Board of Trustees.
So what I would add to that, we have been talking about it, but I'm going to try to summarize both the process to now and what I think the planning board needs to do between now and the next meeting. So the first part is the whole concept behind this was that as Sag Harbor grows and is redeveloped, the waterfront properties were feeling a great deal of pressure. And having a vision for the village that works best for all the parties involved, from resident to property owner to visitor to tourist. How do we guide that redevelopment of that waterfront district, including things like access to the waterfront, the view shed, the size, the mass of the building, and then the uses in those buildings. And the waterfront committee's recommendation is all on that website. But those were the goals, and we've done a lot of really good work. I think we've come up with a really strong, thoughtful plan that takes into account a lot of different groups' inputs. I think it's going to be really good for residents. It's going to be great for businesses. I think it's just very positive overall. I'm happy to talk with any members of the planning board one-on-one about specific questions as you review those documents online. And I think, hopefully everyone's really as excited about it as we are. We are being the waterfront committee, but anyway, that's just my little to sort of rundown on it. So please take a look at those, and if you need help finding it, let me know. Let Kathy or I know. So that being said, it's now 5:33, so we should get the regular meeting started. So if Doris, could you put up the flag for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, give me one
Flag
second.
salute. All right. I pledge allegiance
Right.
flag
Of
the United States of
Of the United
America,
States of America
to the
and
and
republic
to the republic
For which
for
is
which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
For some reason, it's easier to do that all in unison when we're all in the same place. But I think considering we've done a pretty good job with the Zoom. So that being said, I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the planning board. We have all the planning board members present except for Larry Perrine. So the first item on the agenda is the minutes from the last meeting, March 23rd, 2021. Could I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
All right, I see Nat, thanks.
Second.
All right, Ronald Reed, and then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so carried. So then we're moving on to the old business section, 63 Main LLC, Page Restaurant, application for proposed expansion, change of use. We got a letter today from Tiffany Scarletto requesting that we adjourn this until the next meeting. So
correct.
if we could do that.
Oh, we have to make a motion?
Yes, please.
Yes. Is Nat, you making the motion? Thanks. Second?
All right, I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Okay, for the record, the next meeting is May 25th.
Yep. And then just to clarify, let's see here. Well, we'll go on to the next item. So 152 Hampton Street, which we just discussed in the work session. We have a report coming out from Nelson Pope Voorhees. There are some things that need to be addressed in a number of impacts that are outlined in that report. So for today, I think we can vote to declare lead agency status, but we can't have a determination under secret. Is that correct, Kathy?
Right.
So with that said, could I get a motion to declare lead? Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I think we only had, I only noticed there were 2 letters. How many letters are we supposed to get back to declare lead agency? I think we only received 2, one from the ZBA and one from, I forgot who the other one was.
So sometimes agencies just don't respond. And if that's the case, as long as 30 days have passed, we are allowed to declare lead
We just
agency
move on
status.
without it. Okay,
Exactly. Yep.
my question.
All right. So with that, could I get a motion to declare lead agency status?
So made.
And a second?
Second. I can second.
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. So we have that. And then I don't need to have a motion that we can't adopt the secret determination, do I, Kathy?
No.
Denise? No, okay. So we'll all look for that, that report from Nelson Pope Voorhees and review it, and we can, I'm sure it'll be in the next meeting. Okay, so going back to 64 Germain, we just were speaking about requesting the extension on those approvals. We talked with the applicant, who's still on the meeting, indicated that the plan that Kathy had with the 3 pools was the correct plan, and that there were some conditions that by moving the driveway, putting that the pole underground, and then reinforcing those drains structurally so that a car couldn't crush them or fall in. Those were the conditions. So are we able to, Denise and Kathy, vote on that extension with those conditions?
Sure. Yeah, if you
So we
you
can,
want to authorize us to put together a written determination, we can circulate that, and then tomorrow or the next day, and have you guys take a look at it and make sure that you're comfortable with it. But, with the direction that, you're authorizing us to approve an extension of time for issuance of a building permit, and, with the conditions that there'll be 3 swimming pools, 3 units instead of 4, and the relocated entrance drive and the load-bearing caps on the drainage structures. Those can all be conditions in the extension of time.
okay. So with that being said, could I get a motion to direct Denise and Kathy to write that approval?
There'd be a motion to approve, Denise, as well.
Yes, you can. Well, it's a motion to approve the extension of time, subject to their receipt of a written determination. So,
Yeah, so a motion to approve the extension of time, subject to the receipt of those conditions.
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
So carried. So we'll look for that, and then hopefully tomorrow, and then we can get that out.
yeah, that's no problem.
Thanks.
Denise, I started something, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I think that's it for the agenda. I know, just for housekeeping purposes, we talked about 41 Main Street, and I'm gonna work on that on this with the parties. That being said, I don't think we should vote on anything about the neg deck today. I think it's sensible to wait until we resolve that issue, and hopefully we can vote on it at the next meeting.
I agree. And you want something in writing from Kathy to adopt your neg deck.
Okay.
So it's not like it's going to hold up the process by waiting until the following month.
Okay. So I think with that being said, could I get a motion to adjourn our meeting, please?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. All right. Thank you guys all for your time. Really appreciate
Wow.
it.
You answered the whole
Good
meeting.
job.
Good job. Thank
you.
you.
Great.
Have
Thanks,
a good
everyone.
night.
Have a
All
good
right.
night. Great to see you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
You
Bye.
too.
Good night. Good night. Take care. Bye.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks,
Night,
Doris.
night,
Thanks
John.
for forwarding those emails. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anytime. All right. Have a good night.